Refugees from Kalara 5, angry about Romulan relocation, kidnapped Picard and held him for 9 days. 2 Reman assassins intercepted the ship in the Denatra sector and held a disruptor to Picard's head. And Starfleet asked Picard to negotiate with the Praetor, and a photon grenade detonates meters from him. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Seventh Rule with Cirroc Lofton, who is actually on the official Star Trek cruise right now, having the time of his life. Maybe we'll see him later, maybe we won't. So right now it's The Seventh Rule with Melissa Longo.
Hi.
Wearing a freaking awesome 10 Forward shirt from Paramount Plus.
Yay.
My name is Ryan T. Husk, and today we're doing a review of Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 3, entitled 17 Seconds. So far, their title game has been really good, the first 3 episodes. Written by Jane Maggs and Cindy Appel, directed by Jonathan Frakes. Jonathan Frakes, maybe? I don't know. How are you today, Melissa?
I'm great. I'm excited about this review.
Me too.
Yeah.
Also, very quickly, check it out. I'm wearing a cool shirt too. It's a Bozeman baseball team. If you were a baseball team in Bozeman, Montana, right around 2400 or so, right? That's where we are. What would your baseball team be named? Why, of course, it would be the Bozeman Phoenixes. Everybody knows that. It's the Bozeman Phoenixes. Check that out. Check this out.
My favorite is the back. Yeah.
Look at how cool that is with the B, Bozeman Phoenixes. Anyway, you can find that on in the link below. Star Trek and Chill shop. Check it out. That's a shop I started. I hope you enjoy it. And you too can have a futuristic baseball team that sounds like something straight out of Star Trek or some other cool things. Lots of great stuff there, like the and Chill line. Anyway, let's move on. I just really like this shirt made by JJ Lendl.
It's a great shirt.
Yes.
Great shirt.
And you wear it well. All right. So we got some Worf. We got a lot of Worf, right?
Oh my gosh. I loved all of the Worf. And I took many, many notes. 4.5 pages.
What?
And
double spaced, I hope.
Well, you can't see, but
chicken scratch.
Yeah. But most of them are Worf's lines.
Including your background.
Yes.
Which has like the most non-appearance mentions of any line I've ever seen.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And do you take sugar? No. No. Amazing. And Raffi and Worf's chemistry is really great. I think they're good partners. Good partnership.
I'd like to point out too that Michelle Hurd is killing her role just like she did in the first 2 seasons. And we already know and love Worf and Picard and Geordi and Riker and Deanna Troi and Bev, Blazin' Bev. But it's a lot tougher for somebody like Raffi to fit in there, for someone like Michelle Hurd to be acting amongst giants. And I just want to give a big shout out to her for just crushing this and being a part of this legendary cast and holding her own, more than holding her own. And I'm sure that if the others, Elnor, Rios, Girardi, if they were still in Picard Season 3, they also would be more than holding their own because they've been amazing. But yeah. Worf was rad too.
Worf was rad too. His evolution feels really natural. He feels like he's aged, and I love seeing his new perspective. But he hasn't lost the essence of Worf, if that makes sense. It's just
he's lost about 100 pounds of Worf, but he still has the essence.
Right.
There was something in the title, 17 seconds, right? It had that which was kind of a recurring theme. It was introduced at the beginning with Riker telling Picard a story, and Deanna Troi, who seemed very much like Marina Sirtis with all that sass. Well deserved though. But yeah, when Riker told that story, about the 17-second turbo lift, and then way later towards, 2/3 of down into the episode, Picard has that turbo lift ride. Didn't need to say a word. You notice that? Like, he didn't have to say a line. They didn't have to remind us or wink or anything.
Right.
He just had that moment, and it was a beautifully written moment, and it was well earned. It was earned because that nugget was placed at the beginning. It made sense to us. It gave us an emotional feeling, and that carried over. It brought it back. I thought that was perfectly written. A+ there. Great title.
I thought so too. And he didn't have to say a word because I said it for him. When he was
what was the word?
I said 17 seconds. And I was there with him in the turbo lift on his way down to see his son.
Absolutely. And I think we all kind of did say that, because that's the mark of the well-written scene, is that they get you to say it for them, and they're like, gotcha.
They did. They got me.
Great job there. Great job. Let's give that shout out back. Jane Maggs and Cindy Appel. Beautiful. I mean, I know it was written in the writer's room and they all came together on it, but clearly Jane and Cindy, combined with Jonathan Frakes, the director, put that moment together beautifully. That was great.
And there were several great wonderfully written scenes, in my opinion. And they didn't feel forced, and the heartfelt moments didn't feel misplaced, and like the scene between Picard and Beverly, it kind of broke my heart for Picard, just because of all the time he lost without being given a choice to lose that time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, what I liked about that scene was that scene in and of itself was a ride. It was Beverly's right, Beverly's right, Beverly's right, Picard's right, Picard's right, Picard's right, kind of an understanding in the middle, but then now Picard's still a little upset. Like it was a ride. It was like a tug, a push and pull, where it's like, wow, Blazin' Bev is making some pretty good points, about, those were the ones I mentioned at the trivioids at the beginning. But then when Picard really hits it with, with the things like, you made that decision for me.
Exactly.
What I could have done with my life, I could have been a father. Right. I could have been a husband. And it's true. She could very well be right. And maybe she probably would be right. But yeah, it's true. Maybe. She made a life decision for another adult. Again, you can make a life decision for a kid, fine, or an invalid, but he's let an adult make that life decision for himself, right?
Right. And I get where she was coming from. She did say that, I know how to protect my kid, but I don't know how to protect yours. And that makes sense to me in here. But again, she's still making a choice for Picard that she has no right to make. He needed to be able to make that choice, whether she was right or wrong about it.
Yeah, and that's the other part about it being such a well-written scene, is that we can totally understand where she's coming from. Even if we think ultimately, all things being gathered in, all the information, it was probably the wrong decision morally. We probably think that, but we completely understand why she did that. And in her position, we know that we may have made that same decision, or at least considered it, where we're like, hey, I have a son, and this is the most important thing in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, this direction has the best chance of protecting the most important thing in my life.
Right.
You know?
Well, and I think part of her may have been scared of a lot of different things, not just of who Picard was and how he lived his life, but
Scared
also
of falling in love with that rogue a sixth time. Am I right?
well, yeah. I mean, they said it was over and they knew it was over and it was the end. And she got scared because she knew it was the end. But now she's pregnant and she has a kid on the way. And that's another scary information, a piece of information. And so I guess, I don't know, we make rash decisions when we're scared.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's the next thing I would like to discuss is my great segue. This Ensign LaForge, when she comes over and she checks on 7 of 9.
Mm-hmm.
And well written, of course, again. Great delivery in a couple of the lines that I'd like to point out. One is, when LaForge checks on her and she says, "My father is the most decorated, one of the most decorated, whatever." And 7 of 9 says, yeah, right. She says, "This sounds rehearsed." And I was like, that's well written, well delivered.
Yeah.
Another line that she delivered very well is when Jack Crusher knocks out rando security guy, and the line is, "You're insane." Most actors, average actors, maybe like myself, would be like, "You're insane," or like something, like they're just realizing, "Wow, you're insane." But she delivered it in a different way that was better. And it's always a bold choice to do something different than what's obvious. And it's up to the director and the editor to pick that take and decide, this is the one I'm going with. But it's up to the actor to do that great decision. And the way she delivered it wasn't, "You're insane," or whatever. She said, "You're insane." Like, okay, well, now I know. Like, just kind of still chill. And I thought it was just a beautiful choice. And that's all on her. So A+ to Jeri Ryan.
Well, and it is still, in her reaction, stayed true to her character, in my opinion. It stayed true to who we know Seven to be. And and to your point about the LaForge and Seven scene as well, that was another great scene, like you said. What I found myself saying when they had the conversation was, finally a bridge crew person who's getting some character development, which I love to see, and which is another reason why it was such a rich scene. So
Another thing that was well delivered, just to backtrack a bit, I forgot to add this when we were talking about this 17 seconds, was right before that. Great writing in that there wasn't much that needed to be said. When Picard gets called to sickbay from the bridge, he doesn't say, "Oh, what should I do?" He just kind of looks at Riker like, and that's not for permission. That's for friendly advice from one father to another father, from one friend to another friend. That's what that moment was not Admiral to Captain. And Riker only had one word, and it was "go." Now, there's a lot of different ways you could deliver that one word. And I also think, by the way, shout out to Alexander Siddig, who I think would always do a great job only having one or two words, like "yes" or "yes, sir," but he would always make it interesting. But Riker, the line was "go," and he said, "Go." And it was beautifully delivered. Again, big surprise, a director knows how to deliver a line, right? But he, obviously he knows what he's doing, and that was great.
Yeah. I had an acting teacher who once said that all directors can act, but not all actors can direct. So and I found that to be true, because a director has to know how to inspire a actor to make a particular choice. So, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really happy with it overall. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it seems like the writing is on point. People are beside themselves talking about the writing, so obviously we don't need to hit that point too hard, because it is known. But also we really need to address, the directing and the acting.
Mm-hmm.
The acting is also great. I mean, it's not easy
good
to wrangle up a bunch of 90-year-olds. I'm exaggerating, don't, but in Star Trek, maybe they are 90 years old. Remember, they live longer, but they're just getting
all of them
great performances that maybe the next generation may not have gotten out of them, because Star Trek back then, people, they would get criticized a little bit for being a little bit wooden or something like that. I don't think it was, but it was a little bit more reserved. And in today's day and age, there isn't that reservation. And I think the acting is beautiful, because maybe some people may have questioned, can Jonathan Frakes really act at an 11? Can Worf really bring it? We never really got to see that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I disagree with those who say that about them and for the legacy.
Tell them.
Because there's some outstanding performances from the actors in all of the legacy series, and they're not wooden if you're paying attention to why certain choices are being made. And I think that Michael Dorn is a phenomenal actor. I think Michelle Hurd is a phenomenal actor. Patrick Stewart, I wrote down Patrick Stewart. Wow. What a
wait. How do you spell wow when you write that down?
Wow. No, I just put Patrick Stewart because I was like, wow, dude, I'm getting everything that you're giving off right now, and it's all up here in the eyes. All up here in the eyes. Mm-hmm. But phenomenal. And again, Amanda Plummer is amazing as the villain, and yeah, I'm eating everything up. Everything.
So I also noticed there are a couple times where roles were reversed. Not just that Riker is the captain and Picard is suddenly first officer as an admiral, as a retired admiral getting moved into that. By the way, great stuff by Captain Shaw, immediately recognizing that he will no longer be fit to captain the ship and transferring it over to somebody that he maybe did not like very much, but definitely makes the correct decision there without hesitation, which is A+ writing and an A+ character. And then also later on in sick bay, when even if he's got, for all he knows, his potentially dying breath, he's still asking questions like, how did she find it? He's still captaining in mind, trying to save the ship even on his deathbed. So that's great stuff. Shaw appreciation post there. But the role reversal wasn't just of the position that Riker and Picard take, but the position in the argument. Because back in the day, Riker was a little bit more guns blazing, and Picard was more the diplomat. Especially every time Worf wanted to shoot something, he'd be like, no, Worf, shut the fuck up, or whatever, he would say.
Yeah.
But now Riker's the sensible one, and Picard's the one that's got, saying, let's go for it like we got nothing to lose.
Kind of. And I have a theory, because to me, honestly, at the end, when Riker said, leave the bridge to Picard and scolded him, I was like, dude, that's a bit harsh. What you were doing wasn't working, so why not try a different approach? And then you took on his suggestion, and now you're punishing him for it. it seemed really bizarre to me. And then I watched it a second time, and something caught my attention. And here I'll share my virtual background, change it, because Riker gives Picard this look, which
Yes.
made me think, is Riker a changeling?
Wow.
Because this look is not something, it's not a look you give to a friend, even when they make a mistake. And something about in the beginning of like the first episode when Riker says, well, Deanna and Kestra, is that her name?
Yes.
Needed my absence for a while. So if this Riker is a changeling, our Riker may still be with Deanna and Kestra on Nepenthe, and we would never know. And all of the stuff that we saw Riker talking about his family and such was before, in the before scene. So
yeah, that look that he gives him is that of disdain. And that's really interesting because I completely disagree with your conclusion.
Okay.
But I'm just guessing too.
Right.
So you could be right. I hadn't even thought for a second that Riker may be a changeling, but you're right. It's absolutely possible, especially because of that look. I did take note of that look as well, and I liked it very much. And I just took it as, wow, look how far we've come to where Riker is actually looking at Picard with disdain, like, how could you do this to us? Like, I trusted you, I loved you, and you are leading us down this path of killing us all. And so I feel like it's just part of the friendship arc of, it's going to be part of Riker's arc where he's going so far into actual like resentment that it's going to bring his path that much more fulfilling when he comes back to, hey, really sorry, bro. So can I buy you a beer?
Well, that makes sense too. It just feels like that they've had such a long friendship with so many highs and lows, and to me, there was something that felt a little out of character with the way that he addressed Picard, and knowing that he's just discovered this new family, and not being a little bit more sensitive to that, it seemed a little bizarre to me. And I was theorizing that maybe if Riker is a changeling, he was part of the Starfleet that Beverly said you shouldn't trust, because
absolutely.
And it could have been a way for him to get Picard into this nebula, because he was somebody that he trusted.
I mean, it's entirely possible. And they do have 10 episodes to tell this story. So they are playing the long game, which is great. And if you end up being right, I would think that, first of all, kudos to you. And secondly, kudos to them for planting something so insidious and well thought out. So that's certainly possible. It's one of the many, many, many fan theories out there, but this one certainly cannot be discounted. When it comes to changelings, you just don't, it really can be anybody. I mean, it probably can't be Picard, but you're right. What if it's the second closest thing? It's the closest person to Picard.
Well, and then right after this look, Worf says, and I wrote it down, Worf says, they can look and sound like anyone, any species. And that's right after Riker gives this look. And it was right after I was like, wait a minute, is Riker a changeling?
See,
and then he says that, and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay.
We got another hint or something that I took as a hint. And the species thing actually helps along with that. When they first said, we have a saboteur.
Right. Oh,
and then
side-eye guy.
It cut to the Vulcan lady.
Oh.
She turns and she says, Captain, we have a plasma leak, or whatever she said. And a lot of times shows will do that when they say, like, we have a saboteur, or we're being double crossed by someone, or who could it be? And then it cuts to the person that it is, so that when you watch it a second time, you're like, oh my God, it was right in front of my face. And I didn't. And when you mentioned that they said any species,
that's true.
What they would say that to let us know, guys, it doesn't just have to be a human. So that's my guess. But then, of course, then we find out that it's this other security guy. But then the answer is, well, there could be 2 or 3 or 5. Exactly. We don't know. So I think it would be even better if we think, oh, crisis averted. We know it's this guy.
We know who it is.
What if it's 2?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kind of like Bashir when he got replaced.
Mm-hmm. It's good stuff.
It's fun to think about.
Yeah, the other quick switch was the role reversal of Worf. He was always the guy that wanted to kill everything. Find him and kill him, death to the opposition, all that kind of stuff. But now he's the one that's like, no, Raffi, calm down. We're not putting any batleths in any booties or any. We know chamomile tea is what we do. We're not going to harm it. You may keep your fingernails.
Yes, right? I was just about to say that one. You may keep your fingernails. Oh, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked when Raffi says, I think we're going to lose my chamomile tea, or
I feel it coming back up, or something like that. Yeah,
something like that. Oh, so good.
Mm-hmm. So, also very quickly, a friend of the show, and not just our show, but a friend of the Next Generation show, Patricia Tallman, who we all know as a stunt double on Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, also from Babylon 5. We wanted to give a little quick shout out for her, and it goes a little something like this. Hey, everybody, you may remember our friend Patricia Tallman from Babylon 5 as Lita Alexander, over 50 episodes of The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, as well as Generations, and so on. She has a new masterclass called How to Tame Your Fear Dragon. It's all about discovering the blocks that keep you from making progress towards the things you want to do and your dream goals. It's a 90-minute interactive Zoom session complete with a 20-page playbook she'll take you through on March 9th. And there is a replay. You can read all about it and sign up at the link below. So everybody go check that out. We will include the link right below here, just like where you can find this shirt, just like where you can find a Melissa shirt. I don't know if you wear this. That's a Paramount Plus that's somewhere Paramount. In there. Yeah, it'll be somewhere there. We'd also like to give a very special thanks to our friends, Homer Frizzell, Dr. Marie Segal, Eve England out in Wales, Yvette Blackmon-Tom, Carmen, a.k.a. Skillet, TJ Jackson-Bey out in Missouri, Bill Victor Arucan, Titus Mohler, Darlena Marie Blender. Okay. Thank you. Dr. Mohamed Noor, Tierney C. Dieckmann, Anna Post, Rex A. Wood, Anil O. Polat, Joe Balsarotti, Mike Gu, Dequeue, Neal Akasaka. Very good. Justine Norton-Kertson, Dr. Stephanie Baker, Carrie Schwent, Faith Howell, Edward Foltz, live from Tokyo, Matt Boardman, Chris McGee, Justin Weir, Jake Barrett, Jane Jorgensen, Henry Unger, Jed Thompson, Randy Frank, and of course, Dr. Susan V. Gruner and Jason Okun. Guess what, everybody? Some of those people you just heard will be on the other side at the free-for-all. It's a little something we like to call, guess what? The free-for-all. So it's going to be a super quick break. We will be right back on The Seventh Rule. Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome back to The Seventh Rule with Melissa Longo.
Hello, how are you?
We are joined by audio engineer everybody's favorite villain, Gul Scott Jensen.
That's right.
Also, a VFX artist who worked on Discovery and Orville, among other things. We just found out on Defiant, Mr. Matt Boardman.
Hey.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, this is where we need you. Did you get all the non-appearance mentions today? Because there were a load.
A ton.
What do you got, Melissa?
I think
look like you got them all.
not all of them, but Odo definitely counts, right?
Hell yeah.
He counts.
It was definitely implied.
Totally
Mhm.
Odo.
Because he
And then
said a friend of mine, a man,
Right.
he was a man of honor. We're like, that's Frodo.
Man.
That's Odo. Yeah. Definitely Geordie LaForge
Yep.
and Gowron and the Rozhenkos. I
Mhm.
think they're all implied there. Martok,
Sergey, right?
Sergey,
And the
Moog.
Duras sisters.
the Duras
Duras
sisters.
family.
Yeah.
I don't think Moog, I was kind of teetering with Moog, but we've never seen Moog, right?
This is true.
I don't
This
think
is
we
true.
ever will.
Right.
What about, this was the other question mark I had. What about Richard Daystrom? Because they're always talking about the Daystrom Institute, but that's not him. It's just named after him. So I'm going to say probably not, but what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
Oh.
Homer might
it's
not
such
agree.
it's a direct tie. It's so direct. I know Homer would definitely say no.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna side with Homer on this one.
Wow. So I think we have a direct tie between the four of us. So we're actually going to have to leave it up to the comments below. I mean, I would love to have, a non-appearance mention, a shout out to Richard Daystrom. I think that's super cool. But I personally think that they're talking about the Institute. It's like if they say, the
Right.
Washington Monument, or if they're talking about Washington, D.C., they're not actually naming George Washington, but I don't know. So it's 50-50. Everybody in the comments below, does that count as an official non-appearance mention to add in our official 7th rule tally? Boy, this goes up on all of the websites everywhere.
And I will add that the place had just been blown up, and they're going to the Daystrom Institute for a secret weapon that they had been. So it was more the Daystrom Institute than the.
It looks like you have a crow perched on you with a tail, or a magpie. The magpies are the ones that are like black and white, I think, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
With a tail.
Well, Scott, what'd you think of this episode? Do you have a lot of notes, a lot of thoughts? What's up?
I don't have a ton of notes, but I did like a lot of the character development, just exchanges between people. That bar scene between Picard and Riker talking about Thad when he was a baby was absolutely heartbreaking. Just knowing everything that's on the way. And I thought it was so great that they carried that theme throughout the whole thing of fathers and sons, with what we saw with Picard's dad last season, how he wound up, being a mixed bag of nuts, and then him deciding, am I going to be like my dad? Am I going to be, what kind of father can I be like this grown man? A couple non-appearance mentions too, I really was happy about was Wes. Hearing about Wesley.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and how
And
Jack and Wesley, like what's going on with
Right.
Wes? Is that, because that deleted scene of him being at the wedding, that just doesn't exist anymore. Did he just never come back and see Beverly again? Is he just still flying around doing his time cop stuff?
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was interesting too. I really, of course, personally, absolutely love and want a spinoff that's just Raffi and Worf just scaring the crap out of everybody, because that was such great exchanges. And of course, as a number one DS9 fan, I could not have loved the information that we got out of there more than I possibly loved it. And it was great because the first guy that attacks Jack, and he gets hit in the face, and it does that morph effect. I was like, it's got to be one of those weird net things from Discovery that one character had. It's got to be that. It it can't be a changeling. It can't be a changeling. And then as it slowly was revealed with the guy tied to the chair, which was great again with Raffi and talking about withdrawal and everything like that, making it to where those two characters could have been the only ones that could off that scene with Worf and Raffi in there. And just the reveal of all that was absolutely wonderful. And I could watch an entire show, like I'm saying, between the two of them. Beheadings are on Wednesdays, just back and forth. It was so great. Michael Dorn has not missed it. I think he added a couple beats. It's not that he didn't miss any, he's added some. Because those movements are so fluid. I mean, he's quicker. His voice is more commanding while also being the whole balance thing that he's doing now.
Wiser.
Like he's much more wise, and I feel like I might be more scared of Worf now because before you knew just get away, but now you don't know what he's thinking. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to all that. And the other thing that impressed me absolutely in this whole episode was everything with Riker. Jonathan Frakes destroyed. I'm in front, and he directed in front and behind the camera in this whole episode from day one, like I was talking about in the bar scene, and then all the stuff as he's talking to Jack, as he's talking about just everything that happened that we didn't see, just the man that he was in the last movie, and all the stuff that happened to him on Titan, and then what we have now. You know, as a kid, I always loved Riker because he was what I felt was the next Kirk. He was very snappy. He was really smart mouthed. He was always coming up with some kind of trick or something like that. And now we've got the seasoned, weathered veteran, and I didn't know I could respect him more. And absolutely, definitely, it has definitely happened in this episode. And then our friction at the end was a lot of fun too, because you never think you're going to see the two of them butt heads like they did. So that drift, what an ending! Oh, that drift off into the cloud, what an ending!
Did you think that it couldn't be changelings just because you thought that would be just way too cool? Or what was your reasoning behind like fighting the possibility of it being a changeling?
Fighting it being because all I want from modern Trek is more DS9 content. So I when I hear the Dominion War and I heard it out loud, I didn't think it was real. I thought because I watched it right when I woke up and my coffee was still getting in my system. So I thought maybe I was dreaming. You know, the caffeine hadn't hit yet. And the more I'm hearing about it, and then a splinter cell from changelings, and we've got all these splinter cells. We've got we've got Obsidian Orders. We've got the Section 31s. We've got
Orion
whatever. When we were talking about Bajor, like these little splinter people, and to have the evil Federation as a splinter cell. And of course, just to get one line of dialogue about Odo was choked up immediately choked up. And I just wish, and I said something about this in the last episode, because I really, really hope that somehow the Section 31 show is Worf and Raffi in there too. I don't know what you got to do with timelines to mix everything up and bring Michelle Yeoh in, but that's just make it happen, guys. I know you're listening.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's
Section
certainly
31
doable.
hasn't been above time travel, so.
Right. Oh my God, Matt Boardman's got a magpie of his own.
I know.
When did that fluffy thing just show up? I just noticed it.
Scott, Ryan, where are yours?
I could
the memo?
find one outside, maybe. Let's see if I can.
I'm sure they're out in the back alley there.
Well, what'd you think of this episode, Matt?
Man, it blew me away. It's like we are really. I keep forgetting that this is only episode 3, right? And we just keep getting treated to. It's like the show just gets better with every episode. I think that everybody has brought their A game. Like Scott said, man, this Riker is just fantastic, and so many emotions packed into 55 minutes, where it's like you go from that happiness, and oh my gosh, I love Deanna, like when she calls up and gets after them, bring the bottle of whiskey,
so
like
sassy.
I loved it. I was just like, oh my gosh, he's like, oh crap, I'm in trouble. But I love that we're getting that post Enterprise friendship between Riker and Picard, and then to have at the end of that episode, it's just like, okay, we're friends, but you have literally just hosed us, and I, and to see that, like, and I don't know if you caught, but like he had tears in his eyes when there's like that realization of what just happened, and Frakes had tears in his eyes, and I was like, oh man. And then to just like, and then he just kind of reined it in real quick and dismissed Picard, and I just thought, wow, that's just, and I was listening to the Ready Room this morning on my way back from taking the kids to school, and just to hear, they're all in their 70s now, and that just like
except for Mr. Stewart.
Right, exactly. But just the fact that they're, and Jonathan was talking about the fact that, back in the 80s and 90s, you wouldn't see a show like this. But I'm so grateful for it. I mean, we get the great stuff. I mean, Michael Dorn was so great. And I really, really think that Worf is great for Raffi.
Totally.
I do too. Yes.
I think that the two of them, hi Sue.
Howdy.
I think the two of them are going to be a great 1-2 combo. I think what do they call him? The Worf is now the warrior monk.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
good.
And I love the quick. It's so funny because it's like all the stuff that people online start saying. Well, how does Jack have an accent and all this other stuff? And it's just like, oh, by the way, here's your card. It's like
right. I love that moment. He went to school in London. Wow.
Yeah, it kind of stuck. Maybe it's in his genetics, which kind of was a funny little poke at the fact that Patrick speaks with an English accent as well. But just such cool things, and like, I mean, we get some really great space battle stuff in here too, and from a visual effects standpoint, like this nebula, we're talking volumetric clouds, and those take a long time to render. So my hat's off to the VFX team on this episode, because that is a lot of really, really cool looking stuff that had to have taken an immense amount of time and effort to get to look right. But I kind of like that we get kind of that, like, it's almost like a Starship Down kind of vibe to it. It's almost a little bit of a submarine chase there, and I love that we didn't get to see a lot of Vadic this episode, but when we did, it was like it was so cool and calculated.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself scared me even more. That was just like, oh man, like ice in her veins. Like she's just like, again, like just not even like stressing the fact, and how well they cat and moused the Titan into, and it's just like, and I'm sitting there the whole time going, oh my gosh, where is this going? Because she clearly knows what she's doing and where she's leading them to.
She's playing with them,
yeah, exactly. So
my God, Matt, I want to pet your cat so bad. He's just so fluffy. It's just so cute.
I know,
can't stand it.
He's just loving all of it.
He is seriously so soft. I have never had a cat as soft as him. He's just like, it's like those like little plush pillows with all the little
oh, and I love the little part on his nose.
I know. With his little open mouth while you're scratching it. Everybody, we are also joined by our good friend and cat lover, maybe, Dr. Susan V. Gruner. What's up, Sue? What did you think of this episode, and have you watched it?
Of course I have. Absolutely. Did you notice the V'ger thing this time?
Mm-mm.
The V'ger sound effect that they're using?
Yeah, the laser beam.
Yeah, the laser
right.
The same one that they use for the motion picture. Oh, I love it. They are just doing such a great job. The suspense is killing me. There's so many things going on. And I love that we finally found out why Jack has an English accent, like Matt was just saying. And did you notice that Riker said he had a son?
Yeah, we're gonna hear more about that as the season progresses, I'm sure.
That was past tense. He said that. And I thought, well, I thought Thaddeus was. Haven't we heard that before? It was
First
mentioned.
season,
Yeah.
We also saw in
first
season
season.
1, episode 7, that there was no son. Right?
No,
Right.
but they mentioned the
They talked
sun.
about it.
Yes,
They-
Thaddeus
they-
died.
Yeah.
The whole reason they moved to that planet, and we get the backstory
forgot
that
about that.
the ban on synthetics in the
Mhm.
Federation, there was something about that would have helped him, I
Right.
believe. But
You're right.
Right.
The
Yeah,
positronics,
and
yeah.
Oh,
he
I
and his
completely
sister had
forgot
made
about
up
that.
this secret language together, but
Mhm.
Oh,
but he
yeah.
ended up dying.
Yeah.
I had completely forgotten about that. Well, in this one, I guess we're going to find out. It's again part of the suspense. There's so much going on here, but yet I don't find it that confusing. I just like the way it's going. I love that LaForge called 7 Commander 7.
Mhm.
Not- that was awesome. And I just the notes that I have, I wrote wow and changelings. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Just can't wait to see what they do with that. And it's just tremendous what they are doing. Like I've said before, they're spending a boatload of money. And I know it's not just the amount of money that they spend, but they're spending it wisely
Mhm.
across the board. The actors, the CGI or whatever you want to call it, everything, the ships, the nebula, every little detail, it is just outstanding. I'm loving it. I didn't expect to love it this much. You all know that I hate the word old school. They're classics. I did not see the
Vintage.
classics when I was a child.
Vintage.
I saw the original series as a child, and I always, all along with the newer ones, I don't hate them. I don't dislike them. They're just not, to me, as great as the shows in the 90s. I think Picard is as good as the shows in the 90s.
Wow.
Perhaps because we know the characters from the 80s, but I think it's that good. I'm absolutely loving it. Absolutely.
Can you
Can't
believe
wait.
that the Next Generation started 36 years ago?
No,
Wow.
no, I know I was in my 30s, not in
Wow.
grade school or high school. Yeah, loving it.
Well, there are a couple theories floating around. You guys got to hear Melissa's theory.
Oh, okay.
Was
Yeah.
it Matt or Scott was mentioning the look that Riker gave, or like how he didn't? Yeah.
Let me find it
Melissa's
again.
got a crazy theory here, a
do
zany
have a-
thought.
I do have a very crazy theory, and feel free to disagree with me all you want. But let me find that look again, because
She's got the look.
the look that where is it? Of course, now I can't find it. Oh, there it is. This look that I took a picture of with my camera or with my phone while I was watching it. Not like that matters. No, but that they were introducing all of the changeling stuff, and I was really concerned because I personally felt that Riker was very harsh with Picard, very harsh, like extremely so. And then he looks over at him with this look on his face, and popped into my head. I'm like, is Riker a changeling?
Right. Yes. I think so too. He was.
Yeah, I don't.
Picard was warned not to trust anybody.
Anyone.
Including
Anyone.
Starfleet, Melissa
Including
mentioned. Right?
Starfleet.
Oh my gosh, that's where this is going to be so awesome.
Matt disagrees
And-
hard right now. I
No,
can
no,
tell
no,
he's going.
I'm-
I don't.
And there
not
are
Riker.
other seeds that have been planted that might make it possible that he is a changeling. Because there are certain things that he said about him, and between the strife between him and Deanna and their
Yeah, it didn't
daughter,
make sense.
and
Makes sense.
there's no explanation for it, and it's out of the blue. But he's still happy-go-lucky, kind of. It's not really bothering him that much, and it could have been a lure to get him away from the Daystrom Institute, the all of this other stuff, to get Picard. You know, they focused on Jack Crusher for a reason, because they knew that he was Picard's son.
So everybody in the comments below, let us know if you think Riker is a changeling. Do you think every time somebody looks at somebody unhappily that suddenly, they gotta be some kind of, yeah. But maybe
He's
you're right.
also so
It's
disrespectful
circle
of
life work.
Picard,
Right.
No, but
I think.
yeah, very disrespectful, and it felt a little out of character for him to
Right.
treat Picard in the way that he did. And then the moment right after this, and dismissing Picard from the bridge, Worf says, you know, changelings could look and sound like anyone,
Mhm.
and any species, but
Maybe kind of a Bashir situation where
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mhm.
3-4 episodes thinking he's Riker.
Purgatory
Yeah.
Shadows.
Another
That's
theory I
episode.
saw, I don't remember, Melissa, maybe you'll remember, it was on one of our live shows last week. There was a theory that the aliens on Vadic's ship are the breed.
Oh yeah,
Maybe
Yeah,
they've
I
just
said
gotten
that too.
was that you? Yeah, maybe they've just gotten like a
a different
facelift
look.
since then. You know, it's rather than helmets, now they have this other
Right.
kind of mask, and that's why their intelligible speech sounds a little different than it used to, but it's still, you know, unintelligible.
Right, and they could have broken off because they were working with the Dominions.
Right. It's
The
more Dominion
Dominion-
talk. Right.
Yeah.
So they could be green.
I think it
That's
would be
what
great. I
thought
hope
as
they
well.
are. I hope they're not just some. I mean, it's cool if they are, but like, we don't want them to just be some random alien that we never heard. We want them to be tied into something. Maybe it's the
Right.
Sona
Yeah.
now, like, you know,
Oh,
in the future.
Yeah, but they do kind of talk like the Green did
Mhm.
in the end of during the Dominion War.
Hmm.
I don't know. I could be way off and reading way too much into it, but that's what popped into my head. This theory
And
That
then
would be
if so,
awesome.
where is the real Riker?
Right.
on Nepenthe still.
just sitting there
He
making
could
pizza.
be.
Or
maybe.
captured.
Exactly.
Captured like
Oh, that
eyeless
too.
Martok back in the day in
Right.
Bashir.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
And they'll find him and they'll be like, wait a minute, if you're here and he's there, what?
I do like that they're using the changelings again. I'm really excited about this. And
So-
And
I'm
it's being
glad,
done so well.
yeah, and I'm glad that it's an offshoot, a rebel faction, and not because Odo didn't get to change the link, which I think he would have been successful at.
Oh, also, a couple people sent in some interesting things. So the changeling that was being tortured was played
Mhm.
by an actor named Thomas Decker, who was also an actor in a show called Star Trek Voyager. Dr. Marie Segal lets us know that he played the kid from Generations, and you know, like he played like Picard's son in Generations, and
Oh,
he was in Janeway's Jane Eyre Hollow novel, if you'll recall
Ooh.
that. So he's actually been in two different iterations of Star Trek before this. Also, our good friend Mr. Don Crandall tosses some information our way. The They do mention the Dinatra sector, and that's true. If you'll recall, Dinatra was a Romulan character in Star Trek Nemesis, played by Dina Meyer.
Another cat.
Oh my goodness.
That baby.
Oh.
Sorry to interrupt.
Apparently, Vertarium was mentioned. I don't remember hearing that, but it was mentioned, and it was called Vertarium Cortinide in Voyager in 2 episodes, Life Signs and Investigations. Another thing that Don Crandall tells us, he says Picard tells Riker, walk with Will. It reminded me of when Spock tells Picard the same thing in Unification Part 2, walk with me, Picard. Oh, he says, walk with me, Will. And Beverly mentions a planet called Kalara 5. There is no Kalara 5 that we know of before this, but one of the main villains from Star Trek Beyond was named Kalara, and that character looked like this. If you'll recall this one.
Oh,
It's kind of like one of the
Riker
bad guy
That's
crew, if you remember.
Cool.
Also kind of looks shell-headed, like a
Yeah.
couple other of the Star Trek JJ verse aliens.
Oh yeah, she was the one that got them to go out, and when the Enterprise got destroyed.
Right.
Ryan,
So that's
you have
cool.
a lot of things open on your computer.
It's a metaphor
Best
for my
processor.
brain. It's just all kinds of things, but they're all necessary. I don't know what to close. They all need to be open right now.
Things got locked
You
up.
noticed the trill on this ship?
Yeah,
Doctor?
the doctor.
The Doctor, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Doctor is played by, I believe, who was it? It's somebody's
Tiffany?
husband on the show, a director or writer or producer's wife plays.
Right.
Dr. Oak is the character's name. And I wish I had that in front. I wish I need another tab open. You guys were laughing at me.
Just looking to
But
see.
if I had that tab open, we would know. She actually tweeted out recently how happy she is about being on
Right.
Star Trek finally. And her husband retweeted it, which is where it kind of became more known last week or so. Dr. Oak, OHK, I think is the character.
Oh, I was sure that I retweeted it. Maybe I just liked it. Okay, never mind.
Everybody
I thought
go
I
find,
retweeted it.
go to @Melissa Longo and look through all of her likes and find that. Let us know what you find.
Go ahead. No,
Tiffany
but-
Shepis.
Hang on,
I haven't-
Matt's got it.
okay.
Tiffany Shepis?
Tiffany, yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
found it. I had another theory too.
Let's hear it.
And this one may be way off the wall, but they were talking about how the nebula wasn't really a nebula, but an anomaly with a distinct gravity,
Sign.
which reminded me of Bliss. And when the voyage on Voyager, and when Voyager was trying to enter this, what they thought was a wormhole, what was really the digestive tract of a different space anomaly that they never defined. And I thought, maybe it's a similar kind of species being. I don't know.
Could be. I do want to finish the thought on Tiffany here. Here she is
sorry.
on Twitter. No, not at all. It took me that long to find it. Find this page. Tiffany Shepis, Tretta. There's the hint that we were looking for. Tretta, wife to Sean Tretta, who's a writer producer on Star Trek Picard. So that's what that is. And anyway, she tweeted about it recently. I don't know where. There it is.
Yeah.
There she is. So welcome to the Star Trek family, both of you. She's doing a great job. And I think Beverly was a little too harsh on her when she was talking. She was like kind of Bev splaining to her. She was Bev splaining like, you don't even know. He could be concussive bleeding can happen later.
I
dummy.
think it vice
Grow up.
versa, because she got shut down.
You're
She
right.
shut Beverly down, saying, well, we got all of this stuff that a relic
20
like
years.
you wouldn't know about.
It's been
That's
20
basically
years.
what she said. And Beverly's like, okay. But
Shout out to
then-
TNG Relics. Not the best episode.
Not that I agree with her. I don't agree that Beverly's a relic, but
Mhm.
everyone has something to learn from each other.
That's true.
You know.
But certainly a relevant point. Anyway, we got to move on, everybody.
Wah, wah.
I know we should have ended a second ago, but this was a lot of fun. Another great episode, and we have 7 more to go, and then
Yay.
hopefully the many spinoffs that happen after that. Right, Terry Metalis?
Worth and Raffy?
Yeah. Come on, we're listening. You can Metalis.
7? No.
Tell us
With
whatever you want.
7.
that.
With 7.
So
I want 26
it's a lot.
episodes.
Oh,
okay.
right.
That's seasons.
26 spinoffs. Holy
Oh, spinoffs. So
Network.
anyway, thank you to Goldie Scott Jensen, Mr. Matt Boardman, and Dr. Susan V. Gruner. Sirach Lofton again is on a cruise ship signing autographs and making people happy and being the talk of the town like he always is, because he's awesome. But he will be back next week, and he'll also be back for all of our Next Generation reviews with Denise Crosby, who is also, by the way, on the cruise right now, having the time of her life. And if you want to talk about Star Trek Picard a little bit more, go ahead and drop your comments in the comment section below. Let us know if Daystrom should be a non-appearance mention in the official annals of NAMS. And let us know if you think Riker is a changeling, and if you think those are the Breen, or maybe wait a second, everybody. Wait just a second. Somebody is trying to join the Zoom last minute. Who could it be? The timing is perfect. It is Sirach Lofton.
There he goes.
There he is. Right
All
on
right.
cue. What timing?
Hold on a second. Let me unblur my background so you can see me.
And we can see all the people behind you.
Yeah, there we go. Cruise line.
Wow.
Can you see me?
Oh, yeah, we can see where you
Yeah.
are too.
Here we go.
Oh, cool.
So who's that behind me right there?
Oh, you're at
Garrett.
the chef table
I
area?
recognize his
Chef's
voice.
table?
I know.
Oh, yeah. I'm over here at the main dining area.
How
Goofing
was-
off.
How was the autograph session?
There's
5
Armin
minutes.
behind me, you see?
Yay.
How was your autograph session?
Pretty good. There's a couple folks still trickling in, but I have a minute.
Mhm. Cool.
You know, Armin's hogging all the autographs.
Well, he's got a big collection. That's
There he
cool.
is.
So
Yay.
your timing was perfect, Sirach, because we're just closing out the recording. So before we
Yeah.
go, can you tell everybody how much fun you're having on the official Star Trek cruise? And also let us know, have they yet signed you for the 2024 cruise? Or do we need to start a chainmail session?
Yeah, we're gonna try to start a petition. You know, I'm not officially on there yet. You know, but we're gonna start.
Diane.
Yeah, you know what? It's they haven't announced me on there for yet, but I have a lot of people here saying, "Hey, Sirach, we're gonna try to get you on the cruise, so we're gonna just talk a lot about you being cool." So we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there have actually been a lot of posts on social media the last couple of days of people shouting you out and saying how great you've been and how everybody should contact the cruise. But I think the good people at ECP are good enough to know that they don't need a bunch of emails. They already love Sirach. Look at that view. Hang on.
That is
Right, man, look at
gorgeous.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. It's different than the last year's cruise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the lineup is different. A lot of the stuff was different, but a lot of people have been asking about Melissa, and I've been listening to the Seventh Rule. A lot of good love from the Seventh Rule, and you know, seeing Homer here, TJ's here, Yvette, the Sci-Fi sisters in the house. You know,
Carrie's there, I think.
We heard Homer beat you at basketball too, by the way.
Yeah, Homer played basketball with boots on and a jacket and still looked good. I mean, and still look good. I was like, what the hell? It was pretty amazing.
Only Homer.
That sounds about right.
It was amazing. And then Jess Bush almost won the whole thing. You know, Nurse
Chapel. Nurse Chapel. She's I guess she's an Australian baller because she just came through and started hitting swish shots. What? And I was impressed. Yeah. She signed up. She's like, "Can I sign up?" I was like, "Nobody's gonna tell you no, Jess." You know. So she started hitting shots. She almost won the whole thing. Then she's like, "I gotta go to a panel. See you later." see you chumps later. I hope you enjoyed your schooling.
I'm out of here.
She walked out.
Wow,
yeah,
that's so cool.
So it was a lot of fun, man. I miss having you guys here. Everybody's been asking about you. Even like Kitty and Armin were asking about, you know, where's Ryan? Where's Melissa? So I just wish you guys were here. Sue, you would have been great to be here, bringing on the executives. You know, Scott, man, we miss you, man, all the time.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man. Matt, well, no, I'm joking. Matt
would be balling out. Matt is 6'3" and he plays basketball too, man. He'd be balling out with you.
So
you know,
tall.
Lance is here. Lance came to the basketball thing. Lance had some buckets.
Right, from Arizona.
Yeah.
He looks like a baller
of course,
for sure.
Mike Goo was just here not too long ago. Just ran into him, and I mean, it's just you belong here, you know. Dr. Mohamed was so good for the panel too. Like, thank God he was there because
he had a whole slideshow ready, right?
He had a whole slideshow. That's what happens when you get a professor to back you up. It was like a PowerPoint presentation. He had a laser pointer. I mean, the guy was so ready. He made us look good. It was a
phaser pointer, I heard.
And the best thing was, though, he played clips of us. So he's like, you know, technically Ryan and Melissa are here because they're in this clip. And so you guys were here.
Couple nams,
you know, and it felt good.
Mention non-appearances.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to get some time in. I'm surprised I'm actually able to get through on the line.
Me too. The Zoom is not always very good on a cruise ship. Homer tried for us a couple of years ago and it was tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the internet on this one has been better than the last one, but it does just go out on all of a sudden. It just like hits a bad batch and you're down. But yeah, everything's been good. How was the review?
The review was great. We've been talking about the scintillating third episode, and we were just closing it out. So before we go, Sirach, do you want to say just a couple words of how the season has started so far of Star Trek Picard?
Yeah, Picard has been this is the way I wanted the whole show to start. I wanted it to be like this because this is the stuff I've been waiting for. But there's a whole lot of stuff we're going to talk about when I get back because I got some inside scoops from talking with, you know, Jonathan and Marina and a lot of stuff. Not anything I'm going to break story-wise, but just really good background about how, you know, things that I can talk about.
What about Todd Stashwick? Have you met him?
I not only met Todd, but we had lunch together.
Nice.
And I'm a big fan of him. He's you know, as a father, He's been really excited about riding this Star Trek wave, and the kind of interest that people have. He's like, I've never, he's been acting for a while, and he's like, I've never really had this kind of a response from work that I've done. He was on 12 Monkeys for 4 seasons, he said. And he was like, but this is like a whole nother level of work. And so he's a really good guy, which is contrary to what we think of his character at this moment.
That's how good of an actor he is.
So that's how good of an actor he is. Yeah. So yeah, it's really cool to meet these people, get to know them better. And I think Todd is like Stashwick is he's a stud. I believe he's going to be doing well in the future in his career. He was holding a script at one point. He's like, I got to audition for something. I'm like, from the cruise? So
Devotion.
Things are picking up in his world.
Devotion on the ocean.
I was just thinking.
Yeah,
I know. I'm like, I'm sure everybody's thinking it.
I have a couple more signatures to sign, guys, so I'm gonna have to cut out a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, man, I miss you guys. Miss you.
Miss you too.
Miss
We'll
you
see you
too.
back tomorrow. You'll be coming back. Show us the people real quick.
Mhm.
Yeah, here we go. This is the boom, boom, boom.
Missed that dining room. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in, Sirach. Really appreciate it. I know it's super hard to get Wi-Fi and to get away because you're actually in the middle of a autograph session, but we really appreciate you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Love you.
All right. Well, fun's over, guys. Back to work. So it's like we all just saw Santa Claus. We're like, life is good again.
It was a little bit for a moment like being on the cruise with
I know,
him.
right? It took me back to those days, especially being in that dining room. I was like, walking in and just kind of like sitting with Garrett or Armin or whoever just happens to be there and just enjoy your lunch. What a guy. What a guy.
They get back tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow morning, Friday morning. All right, so that's it, everybody at home. Show's over. They just like pretty much just watched us hanging out with Sirach while we were recording. But that's a perfect timing, as always. Sirach Lofton, the best timing in the Denora sector, as they say. They always say that. But that's about it. Thanks very much to Sirach, Melissa, Scott, myself, Sue, and Matt. I don't know why I thanked myself.
And can Sue? Can we see your shirt?
Yes, you can.
Oh, nice.
It's got cat hair all over it now.
Hold it up, hang it up. There we go. Beautiful. You can get that at theintrovertedrepublic.com. That's a Melissa Longo creation. The introvertedrepublic.com. It's easier to type than to say. And then click on Walking Art Made by Melissa. That's where all of her goodies are. That should be really easy. We'll have that in the description box below as well. Lots of good stuff. Check out that description box and click on stuff. Leave your comments and tell Sirach in the comments how cool it was to see him and how you want to see him next year on the Star Trek cruise. If you still want more Picard talk, go to the Virtual Trek Con channel, Star Trek and Chill live Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern time. It's called Star Trek and Chill. And we're all going to be talking about whatever the heck we want to talk about, but it's going to have Picard talk, and we're going to keep on discussing and dissecting all of those theories. That's about it. For myself, Melissa, Sirach, and Mr. Aaron Eisenberg, we would like to thank you all for joining us. And until next time, always remember the 7th rule.